And with that in mind, why don't we bring on with us the former Assistant Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. He is Ron Hosko, currently the President of the Law Enforcement Legal Defense Fund. And he wrote an op-ed about a curious case that happened a while back as FBI posed as AP reporters. Ron, it's good to have you there. Skyping in. We should also point out, staying with us from Newsmax Washington, conservative strategist Jack Burkman to continue the conversation. First, Ron, let's go to you. As an old hand at the FBI, I would imagine the Secret Service picked up the phone and called in the FBI on this drone. Wouldn't you suspect so as well?
I would hope so, JD. The FBI has really a wealth of capability with evidence collection and processing. Of course, our lab in Quantico to take fingerprints off that device and see if they can help track it back to source.
And there's a political fallout too, Ron. Let me call in Jack on this. Jack, you know, the Secret Service has absolutely been pilloried with some justification. Is this another brick in the wall for the Secret Service with a drone found on the grounds of the White House?
JD, there's massive political fallout from this story. The Secret Service, I think, has fallen apart in the last 3 years. I think you're going to see repercussions in Congress. In fact, I'm already beginning to see it. You're going to have people wanting to change the budget of the Secret Service. Bottom line is you will now have big-time Republican congressional oversight for the Secret Service. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. I mean, they maybe could tolerate the drunks, and they could even tolerate the prostitutes and all the craziness. But this, a drone on the White House lawn, this is a little bit, this is now out of hand. I think you're going to see the Speaker, I think you're going to see the Majority Leader in the Senate get directly involved. It's time for oversight of the U.S. Secret Service.
Ron, question for you. Do drones use technology that's specific to the nation that builds it?
Well, I think that it's not so much to the nation that builds it, but it's the builder that builds it. It's a private enterprise that's making these things. And, the question here is going to be, was there a camera on that drone? Was it taking pictures? Was it recording? Was it transmitting to some distant location and collecting information and intelligence on the White House?
It's worth noting,
JD,
as the experts remind me, that flying drones in the District of Columbia is illegal. So much for that right now. Gentlemen, let me continue on to another story. Ron, you have written some about this. The FBI catching heat for posing as reporters from the Associated Press during a 2007 sting about high school bomb threats in Seattle. Agents created a fake story, sent a link with tracking software that helped solve the crime. The current FBI director, James Comey, said in a New York Times piece it was proper and appropriate. Ron, do you agree? Give us your background on this.
Well, JD, I'll tell you this. The FBI has layer after layer after layer of policy. They, of course, are working at all times to follow the law of the land. Then there's internal policy. There are layers of review when the FBI works or acts covertly. There are multiple layers of review to make sure that the representations and the activities of this powerful organization are done properly. This is not willy-nilly. It is not one person deciding or an agent, a case agent saying, here's how I want to play this. So they looked at a situation where there were bomb threats, I think multiple threats of bombs and cyber attacks where a high school was being disrupted. Of course, that's dangerous. And the FBI decided to use a ruse using the Associated Press name as bait only in an email to one person. That's the subject of the investigation. And so my argument is you don't take otherwise lawful techniques off the table in an investigation. You use your vetting procedures to make good determinations.
Jack?
JD, you got to wonder here. I don't know that the FBI has any statutory authority to do this. I mean, maybe if somehow they're arguing this is saving the lives of children, maybe. But I think this is one more example of government overreach, of government maybe doing what the NSA is doing in claiming it needs to safeguard us from terrorism by listening to every phone call in the United States. I don't see anything in the congressional statute authorizing the FBI that gives it the right to impersonate people. I wonder if you don't have some criminal activity here. But of course, with Eric Holder, we have no one to investigate. So unfortunately, we don't have criminal investigations at the national level anymore in the United States, as you know. So I don't know, but it doesn't sound good.
Ron, you wrote an op-ed in USA Today saying, quote, media dangle can be good tool for law enforcement. Can you expand on that a little for us?
Well, your other commenter kind of points to the issue. And my argument would be that there is no law, there is no statute, there is no prohibition, and in fact, there's no privilege that goes to the media. I understand that the AP is tender about this and feels like they had their toes stepped on and that the FBI should never, ever do this. However, if the attack was, say, an ISIS attack and there was the potential of great harm, wouldn't the public be saying, FBI, everything's on the table? And unless something is by statute or by regulation off the table. And here, that's not the case. There is no statute that says the FBI
impersonates me.
The FBI impersonates
what
you,
if the FBI
Jack?
impersonates me, or you, or JD? Can the FBI impersonate anyone it wants? Can it do anything it wants in the name of fighting crime or terrorism?
Very quickly, Ron, 15 seconds to respond to Jack's question.
Well, that's really a good question, and the question is, what balance needs to be struck here? Is it safety and danger to high school students and the school itself, versus one minor intrusion against one person?
And that's the way we'll have to leave it. Gentlemen, we thank you very much. Coming up, a look back at the Iowa Freedom Summit. We step aside now for this Newsmax Now update.